Okay. Oh, Jennifer just came.
Okay, now it's official. Now we're on record.
Okay. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. Welcome, everyone. How do we start? With the icebreaker?
Getting a little feedback
Hi to
from
everyone that I haven't met. I was on the first call with you guys. For now, I'm just like coming in and I can help and I also give advice. But I'd like us to maybe start with a little introduction. Maybe we can all say our name, although it's displayed, where we are right now, and what's our superpower. So I'll go to Brad first.
Oh, okay. Okay, hopefully a superpower come to mind. While I'm introducing myself. So I'm Brad Davis. I'm a software developer from Cleveland. And it didn't really happen. What's my superpower?
Well, I can start with inspiration.
Is
So
it like
I can start with two superpowers.
Okay.
I have two superpowers. One, I can drink unlimited cups of coffee every day.
Wow.
And the second superpower is I understand languages that I don't speak.
Oh, that's good.
So I can communicate easily with people that I don't understand their language. And yeah, my name is Annie. I'm sitting next to Ula here in New York, but I'm based in Portugal as of last year and the whole quarantine.
After 10 years in New York.
Yeah. Now back to you, Brad, to your superpower.
Okay. Superpower. Let's see. I gotta think of a good something food related. I can dissect a recipe. I don't know how to put this, but I can eat something and be like, oh, it's got this and this, and then like put together a recipe from it.
Nice.
It didn't make it into a comic book, but you know.
Yeah. You want to pass it to someone?
Yeah, Russell, you're right below me. You go.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Russell. I'm based out of Connecticut, 2 hours from Boston, 2 hours from New York. And my superpower is that I am obsessed with problems and solving problems. So I often will get, asked something random and it'll be rattling in my head and I'll, yeah, so that's it.
Oh, that's great.
You want to pass it to someone else?
Sure, I'll pass it to Erika.
Hi, I'm Erika. I live in New York, and my superpower is that I'm very good with children. I used to be a preschool teacher, and I used to be very successful with the most challenging kids. I'll pass it to Jennifer.
Hi, let's see. My name's Jennifer, and I live in New York too. And my superpower, I can also drink quite a bit of coffee. So that's
Let's meet up.
a good one. Let's see. I can sit through a lot of Zoom meetings lately. Zooming a lot.
That's a good one.
I can zoom a lot.
It's a good one to have.
Yep.
Well, you definitely seem to keep us functional with your note taking and stuff.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
And I think Ula's
the last one. Yeah, my superpower, I was thinking about it. I have so many probably, but no, I think my superpower is I'm like super positive. So even if the situation is like, bringing you down or people are like negative, it's really, I still, or different circumstances of my life normally would bring me down, I still stay positive. And I think I share this positivity with others.
Nice, amazing. So yeah, it's nice to have a few different superpowers here. That makes the collective really strong, I think. Yeah, like if you are able to dissect a recipe, that means like some attentions for details and solving problems, good with interaction, communication with children, and yeah, super positivity. And yeah, for now we need a lot of Zoom. That's the reality. So yeah, I think it's a good team here. So I want to ask you all next to imagine that it's what we're 2021, so it's 2031, and the way we receive news probably is going to be on some screen that you press the button in front of us, and you'll see the headline about a sustainable co-op store. What is the headline saying in 10 years from now about yeah. So I want you to use the chat to write your ideas. Think for 2-3 minutes and just think of that headline 10 years from now about the sustainable.
So our store, the
Yes.
name of our store in 10 years.
Yeah, a news that will be in...
Did we skip over Annie there?
No, it's me, but
oh, that's
but
you.
I have
Okay.
the computer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ah.
Just want to make sure we didn't leave anyone out. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, great, thank you.
Okay, so
But actually, I have a question, guys, because we didn't designate the note keeper or the note taker. Do we do it like after the icebreaker? Is it okay?
we can do it after.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, then.
so everyone takes a couple of minutes and writes in the chat super headline about the sustainable pop store. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've had nice headlines there. Jennifer, your sustainable cop store gives 1 million to WWF. What is it? World
Wildlife Fund.
World Wildlife
Worldwide Fund.
Fund.
So do you want to elaborate on that? So do you think that sustainable co-op store is one of the missions is to actually get some, to be so to widely, to have that 1 million to share? That means like in 10 years you will take over the world.
Well, to be healthy and lucrative.
Mm-hmm. Healthy and lucrative. Lucrative. Let's see. Brad, Sustainable Cop signs up 50% of US. Can I share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so maybe signs up isn't like the best metric for, you know, success, but you know, like, but yeah, I mean, like, I think the idea is to make it as uh, uh, mass market as possible. That's part of the vision there. You know, and I think Amazon is in that range. I believe like their Amazon Prime is in that range of like huge amount of the US population.
I think it's 80% actually.
Is it more like 80? I knew it was like
you have
crazy number of people.
I read someone
really?
80%
Wow.
of US. Yes.
Yeah.
I read
So
someone.
I think that's like, you know, that kind of proves that it is possible to, you know, reach that number of people. So maybe was 50% not ambitious enough? Should I have bumped it up? Now that Amazon Prime is 80, it seems like, well, 50.
That's good.
You didn't know the numbers, that's why.
I didn't know, so I knew it was a lot.
Erika, do you see it as an educational shopping experience?
Yes, I would like to. And actually, Ula is going to talk about it later. Yes, I think one of the many benefits that we can have. And yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I want it to be like a different, like definitely an experience.
Nice. And then we have Russell and I a little bit on the plastic. We have single-use plastic abolished thanks to Sustainable Cop Store, and 5 years plastic free. I guess I meant also like from packaging thanks to Sustainable Cop Store. So nice headlines for 2031.
Do you think we achieve it in 5 years? Plastic free? 5 years plastic free?
Yes. So I'll pass it a little bit to you to maybe organize like who is gonna be the note taker.
Okay. Who would like to be the note taker? Okay.
I don't mind taking notes.
Because Jennifer did last time. I did once, Erika once.
I can do it this time.
Okay. Sounds good. And
I'll try to keep up with Jennifer's standard of quality notes.
And also, I read somewhere it's also good to designate someone who is the time taker, like the timekeeper. You know, because it can be in a role of facilitator, but it's easier if actually somebody else. So maybe Russell.
Oh yeah.
Sure, I can try to do that.
Okay, great. So I will be the facilitator. I mean, I will try my best to be the facilitator. I read some tips and advices, but never actually have been before. So let's try it. And also after I can share notes, which I took and can be helpful for the future facilitator. They are more like tips like in real life, not like maybe those that we took from some kind of documents. All right, so let's see the agenda. So first, we already did the icebreaker, and now second point is Erika will follow up to last week's presentation about consensus. That should take about 15 minutes. And the next one is presentation of our research or ideas, about 30 minutes. That will bring us to around, let's see, like 30 minutes. And then we have questions and discussions for about 30 minutes. And the last point is wrap up. How did the meeting go? How do we feel? What did we like, or what is the way we would like the meeting to run? So I give it the voice to Erika.
Hi, thank you. Yes, I will try to be as brief as possible. And I'm sorry if I'm about to read this, but it's a little hard to explain for me. So I didn't want to miss any points. So I wrote it. Okay. So, it says, after our last meeting, I was a bit confused about the results from our last vote, which was go or no go to further pursue the vision. So I felt that it was my responsibility, one, to learn more on the subject, and two, to review the steps to reach consensus with everybody. I got in touch with Shelley Miller. She's Vivek's contact from ICA, International Cooperatives Alliance. After a couple of emails, I finally had a chance to talk with her yesterday. She too was confused at first when I explained to her what I thought had happened, which I will read to you now, exactly as I wrote to her, to be objective. I wrote, Vivek presented his vision in our second meeting and left an open space for questions and answers and discussion about it. The agenda for our third meeting included the following. One, determine some rules and systems to work together, which was the meetings and consensus presentation. Two, additional time to go over consensus and questions on the proposed vision. Three, go or no go vote to further pursue the vision. Four, high-level review of the steps to create a co-op. When it was time for consensus, one of the members raised a concern regarding the vision and proposed that everybody share ideas on how to tackle the problem we want to tackle. Some participants agreed with them, and the discussion was deviated from the original vote, go or no go to further pursue the original vision, and instead, we ended up divided into two groups. One that is going to do more research to support the original vision, and other that is going to present their proposal in our next meeting. Vivek mentioned he was caught a little off guard by this and nobody intervened properly to return to the original vote. We ran out of time and the last point in the agenda wasn't covered. In our next meeting, some people will share some research to support the original vision and others are going to present their own ideas and visions. So that's what I wrote to her in the email because she asked me to explain to her first what was the situation. So what she told me in our call is that the original vision or business idea should not have been put to vote at this stage because the co-op hasn't been formed yet. So she compared to a conventional company where only the board of directors can vote. They might own one or many votes, but they can make these type of decisions. The only difference in a co-op is that every member of the co-op has one vote, but you still have to be a member in order to vote. So in theory, none of us owns a vote yet until we decide to become a member of this co-op and somehow commit to it. So ideas can be shared, but nothing should be put to vote yet. Nothing regarding the vision and business anyway. The way I see it is this. So what if someone's vote changes the direction of the business and then that person decides that they no longer want to be part of the co-op and they leave just like that without any consequences. So it seems a little unfair that because of that person's vote, we change the whole thing. However, we still need to learn how to reach decisions by consensus. And the best way to do it is to study the process, which is why I'm going to review the steps and degrees of consent or dissent with you tonight, and to practice with decisions that are not going to affect the direction of our mission and vision. So a clear example is last week we voted whether or not we wanted to have icebreakers in our meetings. The decision reached did not affect the business idea in any way. And somehow we did a very good job at that before I even explained how to reach consensus. So, well, anyway, I want to clarify that this doesn't mean that Vivek's vision is the only way to go, but as a founder of this co-op, which are the words that Shelley used, he's inviting us to join him in his effort to pursue this vision. He is very open to ideas. He wanted you to know that. And I don't like to speak for him, but I do want to tell you that he has worked on this project long and hard enough that I know for a fact that he doesn't want to do anything or everything. He really wants this space he envisions to become a reality, and he wants our help. So I don't know if this make sense? Like, was it clear? Do you have any questions? I would love to hear your input.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very clear because indeed I know how it is, and I also have projects like that where you really spend a lot of time to like reach a model where you think this can work, and this is the moment where you need a team, no? But in order to decide on everything from the beginning, this would be impossible. It would take like so much longer to get to that process, and especially with a large group of people. Maybe if it was like 3 people coming together to decide on the vision, then and probably Ula, Vivek, and you had a small group, founding group. But I think this is normal. Like somebody comes with a vision, and the vision can evolve and be improved, but it's not a matter of like voting if this is the vision or there's another vision that we're pursuing. Because if there's another vision, then it's another co-op, and it's another project. And I think it's really good, and it's also good to like practice the voting system. But indeed there will be no voting till there's an official cooperative incorporated, so then every member can have a right to say in like long-term decisions or decisions that affect the vision and the mission.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. That's exactly right. So anyone else would like to say something before we go to the steps again?
I also agree. And like the vision, for example, when it started last year, it was something else, and it's evolved, but within smaller group. If let's say we all met last year, before actually, we came up with this vision, and then we would have brainstormed, that would be, I think, different situation. But it's already, this whole thing happened, it evolved, and that's where it was the end, sort of. I mean, of course, not the end, because it will still change, but it has the core. That's why I think, I agree completely that since, he's the founder, we shouldn't, it shouldn't go under voting.
It can go under brainstorming, and there's at any point, like it can be like, oh, what do we think on this? And like we can brainstorm, we can put priorities, we can imagine, but it's not a matter of voting.
I think so. Because probably there are details in this project that will be edited and adjusted and changed, but the core of this, I think, should stay the same.
Absolutely.
And it's good to hear, like it was good to hear from Shelley, kind of like the confirmation of it. But
absolutely, we'll make tons of decisions together once, but the decisions that affect, we'll have decisions that come from the members. Once we decide, okay, we want to go on with this, and we are a team. We are already a team, but let's say like a formal co-op, to put it that way.
One more thing, it came to my mind. For example, let's imagine that we agree for somebody's idea right now, different idea, right? And we start working for 1 year in another vision, and then that member, the person, decides to leave, and we changed everything for that person, but then for some reasons we don't know why he decides to leave, and I think we all would stay with that, so that wouldn't be fair.
That's true. We do have to decide, and Shelley did mention that Vivek has to work on setting like a very clear idea, and also we have to, something that we have to decide soon is like what it means to be a member. Like, how do you like say, okay, I'm a member now? Is it like going to be a contract? Is it going to be with some kind of investment, with work? So then we can say, okay, I'm in, right? And he's very eager to share with everybody the steps to form a co-op. He wanted to do it last meeting. I think he was a little ambitious. I'm sure he's definitely gonna address that in our next meeting. Okay, hi Adam.
I think the idea of practicing consensus through votes on, smaller issues really resonated with me. I think that's a great idea.
I was going to ask about approving the minutes from last time. If everybody wanted, maybe that would be a small thing that we could agree on or disagree. Or if someone wanted to change, had something to change.
I was actually wondering why you didn't post them in the end, because I replied to your question, but I don't know if I should have done something or somebody else should have done.
No, I was just saying after the minutes, usually the minutes are approved. Like everyone gets a chance to say, oh, you got something wrong, in case I wrote something wrong.
Okay, so yeah, the formality of like basically blessing in the previous week's minutes for this week is what Jennifer's asking about.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anything wrong with the notes, so I would just say that it looks good from me. And if anybody else has a chance to read it.
So we say like if we do that, that's why like the minute is shared like shortly after the meeting. So if we have like an objection of a sort, we can mention it. That's how I see it.
So are you saying you don't think we necessarily have to approve them the next meeting?
I think maybe it would be good if one person does it, but not necessarily everyone. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Why don't we do that? We go through the steps and then we practice with this decision, which is what we have to do. I'm gonna share my screen and I'm just gonna focus on that small part of the presentation. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do the whole thing again.
So because Adam was late, I wanted my next question. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
We saw you sneak in.
So I had a deadline.
But you missed important part.
Sorry. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if everybody understands what Erika kind of cleared after last week, and if we can move on to the slides that she has, or anybody has questions.
It's also gonna be in the recording. Okay.
Right, that's great. Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more. Okay, here we go. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to compare it a little bit with the icebreaker book that we did. So presentation. A group member presents a proposal, usually with background information. So that was Ula. She talked about icebreakers, about like the benefits of icebreakers, and they were very good. Then we discussed them, and then some people had ideas, and then there was a testing part where we spoke up and we say, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Vivek actually suggested having like a sunset clause so we can see in a few months how the icebreakers are going, if we should go on with them. But everybody had a chance to say, I approve of this proposal or not. In the end, everybody consented the proposal. And there were some concerns that were shared, like about like the time, and we agreed on keeping them brief, and again, like seeing if they were still necessary in a few months. And then, well, the consensus there was very clear, like we're going to implement the icebreakers in the beginning of each meeting. Okay. And I just want to go quickly again through like the range of options that we have. So endorsement, we approve completely. And agreement with reservations. You can live with it, you don't love it, but it's okay with you. You stand aside. You don't like it, but you don't want to hold up the group. Consent in future reconsideration is built in. So you can think about it. And in this case, like for instance, you want to include a sunset clause, like Vivek did. Formal disagreement, but willing to consent. Because remember that even if you don't agree with something, you can still consent for it to happen. You're not gonna block it. So you want your disagreement noted, but you will still support the decision. And finally, you block the proposal. You do not consent. Even if one member blocks it, then that means we didn't reach consensus. And that's why we all have that power. And that's why it's important, again, that we are already members, because each vote has the power to block every decision. Okay. So that'll be it for me. If you have any questions or comments or like your input on this.
Can I ask you, because so is consensus something that you agree as a governance model, or it's connected to cooperative, like cooperative have to function under consensus governance model?
Yes, like that's the way they reach decisions in co-ops. In general, when we'll be doing research, that's the way, because everybody has a vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I might even like I don't need to share this, but like so like when there's a majority rule,
mm-hmm.
like obviously like 51%, right? There's always a minority that's going to be dissatisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if it's 49, then
yeah,
the minority is going to be dissatisfied. So when you reach consensus, it means that even if you don't agree with something, you still consent, you still support the proposal, unless you block it.
Yeah.
And then the group has to reconsider. And sorry, I thought that we were because the presentation was longer. You have two choices. Which is you give more time for discussion, probably like sleep on it, and in the next meeting try to reach consensus again. And you can do this a number of times until you decide that it's maybe time for a backup supermajority vote, which can be like 75% has to agree on the same thing. Yes, Sula.
Yeah, you go.
Well, I see it's like levels of consensus or consent. Yeah, it's like levels,
Yes, there are the degrees of consent until dissent, right? You don't consent. You don't give your permission to go on with the proposal, because you have the power to do that as a member of a co-op.
I mean, I can suggest also, I don't know, like if you're like, there's also this concept of duocracy, like when you propose something, of course, like then you take in consideration certain things, like will it affect, so when you submit any kind of proposal or any kind of idea, you can take in consideration, will it affect the cooperative, will it affect any of the members, how will it affect like the local community and the nature. So then only when you go through these steps, you can propose something that you also take a little bit of responsibility on, like taking action on. And I've had like I've worked with systems where there's not always needed a vote. It's more like the proposal is there, there can be a space for proposals, and only if you're like strongly disagree, like block it, only that person can like have that it's necessary to like have a vote in that sense, like just to say no, I completely disagree, at which point the person that proposed it can have a conversation, like why, like what are the reasons, like with clear arguments. And it's like I'm finding that like voting on everything, like also like later on in the process, right now it's like, as we said, practicing the exercise, but like voting on everything can be also like stressful. So it's like sometimes you take responsibility, oh, I think like it's good to open an Instagram page for the sustainable co-op. And as a member, you can add it somewhere in a bucket of proposals. If nobody disagrees, you can just start doing that. So that's just like a side note on like a little bit more flexible, more flowing style of like voting. And
what is it called?
We call it duocracy.
Duocracy.
Yes, that can be good because there's always the issue of democracy turning into bureaucracy, right? Not ever moving forward, always like getting stuck. And that's why there's also like the degree of like, okay, I just stand aside. I don't wanna block this. I don't like it, but like I just stand aside. That's always an option. And the idea is always that you're gonna do what's best for the benefit of the co-op and all its members.
Yeah, and nature and local community.
Yeah, of course, like the mission. That's why it's so important. The mission, the values, like, and that's also like it can be like where you to know where you're going, and when it's hard to reach a decision, which will be, of course, look back at your values, at your mission. Like, is it in line with what we agreed in the beginning? Are we still following this? That can also be a great help. So maybe we can practice by voting. Maybe we can write the proposal on the chat so it's clear. Jennifer, would you like to do that since you're the one that proposed that, please? And then we take turns to share our degrees of consent or dissent, or want to block it. I pass it back to you as a facilitator. Okay.
Okay. So what? It was about the minutes. Are we taking this example?
Yes. And Jennifer wrote on the chat what is the proposal, so we have very clear where we are consenting or not.
So now everybody should show the degree of agreement. Or consentment. Correct? That's what
Should we do that in the chat?
Should we do it in the chat?
Okay.
Yeah.
But what
is it? What's the official term? Approve? Or agreed or consent?
Why am I starting to hear direct message?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone already? We have Russell, Erika, Brad, Adam, myself, agree, and Annie neutral. I guess also Jennifer agrees. Right.
Okay, so
okay.
Seems like
approved.
Great.
Approved. The
so
proposal passed through the gates of the consensus.
We go on with the proposal.
Yeah, I feel like there is like so many details that we still have to learn about co-ops and the rules. So it would be actually good that we join probably soon. What is it like?
An academy. That's what she like highly suggested. She was like focused on this specific situation, but she it's a must. We must get educated on the subject, everybody.
Yeah, just to avoid, like just to speed everything up and to avoid, this kind of dragging, because that's actually something in drag us, because we are not sure, we don't know.
Yes, and I would just like to add, like, it happened, but we can as always, just benefit and learn from it. And like today we'll have the chance to share our ideas, our thoughts, our research, and it's a good to have also a space just to do that without having to reach any decisions tonight, any main decisions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions still about the consensus process or anything else that we talked so far? No? Okay, let's move then to the next point in our agenda, which is presentation of the research or ideas.
Yeah, so that was my topic that I wanted to bring up. So let me share my screen. I'm basically just sharing Trello, so let me do that. Okay. So before I share my screen, I'm happy that we had the icebreaker today, because I learned that other people are also interested in plastic-free society at some point, which was not something I actually knew was something that was other people actually cared about too deeply or not. So I'm glad that there's at least another person that is thinking that way. One of the ideas that I created a Trello board for, which is not, like I was saying, it's just my idea so far, but it's not like, I haven't really integrated it with all of the things the co-op is yet. So there's nothing to be offended about or anything. So I just want to share. Let me do that here. Okay. So can you see my window?
Yep.
Got it. So I came up with two potential values that we could vote on in a far future, when we had more member representation and more ideas. But if we could potentially have a vote on making single-use plastic be a co-op value, then we can start to come up with other projects and plans, some of them small, some of them bigger, which have zero cost. Like in the far future, if we did make this a tenet of the co-op, then we could do things like a boycott, although boycott's a really a more of a violent strategy. It is a strategy we could potentially use if we already had that in our values. If we don't, then this isn't probably something we would want to do, because it's a public statement, right? And so these values would help us guide us towards, public statements as far as go to market, but also just as members talking to other members of other co-ops. It would be nice to know what we have as far as like a shared understanding. And then another one I was coming up with was citizens shouldn't have to pay more for sustainable options. Like if we could do that, I think we would win, right? So those would be two that we could potentially try to aim for. But yeah, and I collected some other ideas, and they're in these tickets here, or these cards here. And I kind of did a case study on kind bars. My family eats these. We've been eating them for 10 or 20 years. So that we have a lot of brand loyalty to Kind. However, they use plastic, and they have been for a long time. And I actually have been following the business, and I've noticed that over time they're constantly kicking the can down the road. So back in 2014, when I was buying candy bar or the granola bars for my children, they said that they would be go to market in 2020. We'd have a solution for you guys. Well, they kicked the can down the road, and I believe they'll continually kick the can down the road until somebody comes in and says, hey, we're going to make a 4-grain cereal bar, and we're not going to use plastic. or we convince them to reconsider their packaging. Either way, we win. So that would be a sort of vertical integration we could potentially try to capture, or we could just try to advocate for, no plastic in the packaging, and we either merge with or partner up with a company that can produce granola bars that are healthy without this sort of packaging, and then market it that way. But the idea would be that it would be a single product that we could potentially take through the years, where the end game is we have a physical store, and we're not just selling granola bars, but we're also selling all sorts of things that are sustainable. So I'd like to share this with the bigger team, and I'll do that if you guys like it. But I didn't want to try to share this out before having our meeting today, because we had the subjects that we wanted to go over beforehand in the beginning of the meeting. So I'll share this now, and yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. And I guess I can answer questions if y'all want. And let me share this out.
You can put it in the chat.
Yeah,
I can add it to the minutes. So
let me figure out how to share it first, and then I'll pass it to the chat, because I think it's private board.
So Russell, I have a question. Are you proposing to be public coercion of specific companies to so if we do start a grocery, there's two ways of doing it. There's going to all the different vendors and trying to get them to do it behind closed doors, or you're saying
that's the best bet. Yeah,
do it publicly so that they have social pressure to do so.
I think personally it'd be in our best interest to try to do it through partnerships first, because that's less violent, but it's not necessarily off the table that we won't use, if we come up with a replacement and we vertically integrated, I don't even know if we would necessarily need to be coercive at that point, right? We have the product. But if we don't have the product and we're feeling like we need momentum, we could do it that way too.
There's also, we could do, I feel that idea is really good, and we could do in my mind, kind of like an RFP thing, but kind of get an idea of what interest there is in a kind bar, but without single-use plastic, either with pre-orders or somehow something like that, and go to kind, or put out a RFP kind of thing, hey, look, we have these orders ready to go for whoever wants to do
right. And then kind would be how do you want us to do that? So what if what if we take more of the role of generating that mastery of packaging?
Right. I think that's probably where the high road. That probably is where the high road is, Adam. That's exactly right. Where we research, we figure out how to solve the problem, and then we wouldn't license the solution, but we would pressure people to use it.
Yeah, because I feel like there is space there, because there's a lot of existing plastic-free alternatives that have been invented around the world. Why haven't they been in use in all of the products we know and love? And so maybe there's some space for us to be that catalyst to join the two.
And granted, we also need to do our own research, because those plastics that are alternatives may not be healthy either. So
right.
So and maybe there isn't a solution. Yeah, maybe there isn't a solution. Maybe that's why we still use plastic. But I feel like that might not be completely the answer.
Sorry. But I think there's also value into staying away from plastic, and maybe yes, we can, the cop store can be having a role of activism into this into this area, but at the same time, maybe exactly if there isn't a sustainable solution, then it's not on our shelves, and period. We don't have to fight for those cereal bars. There will be like bulk granola that you can have, and there will be like different things. So
Absolutely.
you don't necessarily have to have that one product. And yes, I
Yeah.
think we can have that role of activism and then just focus on like really what products fits with the mission. And
I mean, plastic isn't inherently evil. I mean, in the medical community, it's absolutely essential and it's saved countless lives. So, that said, in food delivery, obviously, food waste is a massive problem. Plastic solved a ton of those problems. So we would have to find an alternative that works. Obviously, the bulk bins at Whole Foods are great, and dry foods are obviously clean enough to do that. Some foods, you do need advanced packaging that works. So there's certainly research to do there. I always like policy issues to things, especially when it comes to plastic. And from the beginning of this project, I've thought that metrics were incredibly important. We're always assuming plastic is bad, but we have to being able to quantify why it's bad, and figuring out exactly which plastics are bad, what products generate, et cetera. There is no consensus there. So just like there's a nutritional label on all products right now because the FDA, it wasn't always like that. What if there was an ecological label on everything? That we were the group who tried to advance what those metrics might be, and then project that against whatever products we do end up selling.
Yes, and as you mentioned, Annie, like not having the option, so customers don't have to decide on like the plastic or not. Like when they're there, it just happens, and it's also like what Vivek is referring to, like reaching the masses. They are there. It's convenient. As you mentioned, they don't have to pay more for it, and it happens to be plastic free. Also, and also there's some alternative now, like compostable packaging and these bioplastics that are a little controversial. I've been doing some research on them because, like, for instance, like this bioplastic made from like there's from corn, and then there's other options that have other impact kind of in the environment. And like, yes, compostable, but to what degree? Like all of this is things that we definitely have to do some research on, because as you mentioned, Adam, some packaging needs to be advanced to keep the freshness. To like chips, there are no. I haven't found like any like package free chips, for instance, or things that need to.
Mexico.
In Mexico. Did you say that? Yeah, like you have to buy them and ship right away. You cannot store them.
Right, so, but you don't need to store them.
Yeah,
that's one
make them in the kitchen and have them as an option for people to snack there, or like within the hour. But if you want to sell them so people can take them for like a road trip or something, you need packaging. And Russell, I really like your ideas. I think they really resonate personally with the mission. We are definitely like plastic free driven, and I love that part where like people don't have to pay more for sustainable. If it becomes, of course, like these big companies that their prices are hard to compete with, but little by little, like we can like bulk, like because there's no packaging for things that don't need packaging, that can help us like balance the prices of things that might need like a packaging that in the beginning is going to cost more, right? But the more we sell, hopefully the bigger the demand is, the price can get, we can lower the price.
Yeah, over the long term, I'd like the group to think about if there were a narrower tact to take with regards to how we accomplish some of these ideas. Instead of being, okay, we want to revolutionize distribution, we also want to revolutionize how items appear in the store. We want to revolutionize delivery. It's like, okay, is there one area where we can focus on as opposed to solving all of those problems?
I think that question is gonna be better answered once we are divided into different committees, because we can assign different tasks to each committee, and that's gonna be, decision making is gonna be easier, and people that have certain abilities or experience or like interest can do research or whatever needs to be done in a specific subject.
And
Right,
also what we would be actually capable of, I think. Once we move on and move forward, we would also know. But anyway, guys, like, yeah, that's thank you, Russell. That's a good idea, and definitely we can talk more about this. And I think we have to keep with the time, so maybe we can pass it to the next person if somebody has a presentation or idea. We want to go to 2.5 hours meeting this time.
Can I just ask, did we decide that yes, we are boycotting something?
No,
Okay.
that was just it was just an idea for future deliberation. But we're not going to be voting tonight on anything.
All right, let's see.
I can go next.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
With the caveat that my computer has been running slow, and we're going to see how it handles screen sharing. But I think we can make it happen. Hold on. Share. Okay. Can you see? I'm in Google Slides here. Can everyone see?
Yep.
I'm gonna see. Does it still work when you present? Can you still see? Is it like full screen for you guys?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, because I only shared the window. All right. Yeah, so let me get my notes out too. So I wanted to dig into the e-commerce part of this. I know it's kind of a small part of the vision for sure, but I think it was part of the things we need to do in the vision, like a kind of an activity we would have to have. So I wanted to dig into a little more and kind of explore what that would look like with the within the parameters of what we were talking about earlier. So I first kind of wanted to do a survey of like who is doing sustainability in e-commerce. And it actually, a lot of companies that seemed that you kind of, like, at least I thought of as sustainable, don't really have a lot on their website or in their like e-commerce store actually to really show like, oh, this is like how sustainable this is, or like to show that it is sustainable. They kind of assume, like these products are sustainable. But I found a couple, so I wanted to point them out. I found this Elite Beauty website, and they do beauty products. And if you can see my mouse, they have these details about packaging, which I thought was really interesting. Package a glass bottle, it tells you kind of like how to expect it and how to dispose of it, which I thought was really interesting. Oh, not too many at a time. Suns and swell does sorry, that should be hands and well. Food products had some compost information, which I thought was pretty cool. So this is, not safe for work. I don't think we can consider this work yet, but anyways, But Naked Body does like beauty product kind of stuff. And they had a whole page, and actually multiple pages, about all their suppliers, and really kind of told a story about the sustainability of the supplier. And they didn't really go into it in their products, but they definitely talked about sustainability on their site. Brown Living is out of, I think, India, and they had it was just kind of a page on their sustainable packaging, but I thought it was interesting that they do 100% plastic free packaging. So it was pretty relevant to what we're trying to do. And they kind of went into more details on a little bit how they do it. They didn't really say like, this is exactly what we use, but some of it's upcycled pro-consumer box, paper wrapping. And I had a link there to if anyone wants to dig in more. Warby Parker. So there's not much on their website about their sustainability, but they do have a report. And actually, I think they renamed it to, it's not sustainability report anymore, but it's something similar that they do every year. The impact report, sorry, it's now called the impact report, where they detail all the different aspects of sustainability in their company. It's a little bit more of a, I guess all of this is kind of marketing, but the report is very markety speak about how great they are, but still found that interesting. And then I found this Verena Street coffee, and where they talked about who was certifying these products as organic or certifying as kosher too for this one. I think that was the last one there. So that kind of gave it's like an overview of like what is possible there, and a lot of them I noticed that I think a lot of them were just focused on transparency of being transparent of what their practices are. And even if they're not, I think some of them were not necessarily like perfect, and it was just kind of like, this is where we're at kind of thing. And I found that really interesting. So that took that and kind of wanted to think about what does the site look like. Take it kind of one step further and like brainstorm. I'm sorry, let me jump back to the first page here.
This is Figma.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you guys can see this here. So I wanted to throw together a site. The goal being take best practices in e-commerce, have a good design and be very fluid and be very easy to flow through the site for users, but also add on our sustainability, add on more details about what makes us special, I guess. Let me get rid of all these lines here.
Brad, can you just remind us what your background is?
Sure. So I'm a software developer and focused on like user UI, user experiences and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a little, I admit it's a little, this is of a template, and a lot of the stuff is kind of basic, but I want to put, we could focus on members here, a big section about us. I'm sure that's going to be a big part of it, focusing on the community favorites. We could focus on suppliers or farmers, very member focused on the homepage. I wanted to jump to, let me see if let me do it this way. Over here, going into like search, oops, zoom in. Over here is kind of like a general search page. The normal like categories, searching by brand, by rating, but also I wanted to add something here about like how much plastic does this product use? And obviously they're all the same here, but there could be different levels, I thought, of the plastic. Maybe it's like a bioplastic, we think, that's like good but not great. That could be 2 drops. I thought oil drops might be a good like metaphor for that, where it's like good but not great. And then another one, other products would be used fully paper, and it would be like just 1 drop.
Yeah, you could do like the amount of plastic per serving of something.
Yeah, and have like different levels of like, if you maybe, I feel like different members or customers would have different levels of how much they really want to look at. And, maybe they want to look at price and just, and the level of plastic.
Also, I've seen that some companies focus on how much plastic each purchase saves, or like.
Yeah, that's good too. Sure. So let me jump to.
But I have a question. Like, have you thought about? Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, have you thought like how would we? How would we categorize though exactly? We would do it ourselves, or because we would trust the companies? That would be very hard.
I think we would do it ourselves. I think that's definitely, or I mean, there could be like a committee that decides that. I feel like that would be like a good committee thing of, you know, maybe it's a committee that brings on new products and like decides that then, or, you know, there's a separate committee that just decides what categories we feel are important. I think that's definitely like for these niche sites that I was looking at, that categorization is a big part of like their identity. In like in a subtle way, I guess, but still in an important way.
Right.
We will need to decide what our sustainability standards are first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I get this is a little bit jumping ahead too, to your point. But you know, I wanted to give it a little have a conversation, give some structure to it. So I thought for like a product details page, we could put in lots of information here that I think could be relevant. Obviously, like harvest time, like some of this is kind of maybe we can't get harvest time, or maybe we don't really know what delivery time it could be, but we could do a best guess there. Have packaging information, have disposal information. I love that, how to dispose of products afterwards. I thought that was a great idea. I think the more details we put into this page, the better. I think I think pretty much everyone will respond well to more information. I don't think anyone's going to say you put in too much information to a product's detail page.
Yes, I agree with you. I like to like I always scroll down to see what they have to say, description and everything. So.
Yeah, and I think because of the membership thing, reviews are going to be big too. I didn't really like mock out what the reviews would look like because I feel like they could be just kind of the same as, you know, other sites. They're going to look pretty similar. But I think the quality of the reviews will be pretty important for us.
Do you think that could reach masses?
As far as, do you mean reviews or like quality reviews?
Like, no, everything what we would have there actually, because I feel like that would be another, it could be more for a niche than for very wide.
Well, I guess technically, yes, for sure. You know, the technology could definitely scale. It's not technically, I don't, you know, this isn't doing anything too different from the standard like e-commerce technology stack, right, that other companies use. So on that side, for sure. There's definitely stuff going on behind the scenes as far as sourcing and distributing. You know, the stuff, Adam, you were kind of talking about, there's like just a lot to think about on that side of the operations. That's, you know, definitely a question of like how much can we scale and how we're going to do that.
Right.
But technically, I mean, and design wise too, I think for sure the design, I think, could scale to that size. Okay, so I just wanted to, I guess like the checkout page is pretty standard. The size, you know, having delivery be kind of a big difference here. Of picking delivery or pickup, or I guess possibly shipping, you know, I mean, shipping could be fit in there too. This is kind of pretty standard, like I said, to stick to like standard user experiences that people are used to and adding on the sustainability.
Brad, can you go back to the brown living slide?
Oh, sure. Looking at full screen. Do you want me to go to the site and look at it?
No, I just wanted to see again just how they laid that out. It looks, to me, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The layout and the colors and the photograph. It's got a nice
too, because
I don't know about
design across the board was pretty big for a lot of these companies. Let me zoom in. This was kind of, like I said, when did I just sign up for block? Like this is just kind of like a static content that they probably don't change a lot and doesn't change with the products. So it's not really connected to the products. Like I think we'd want to go. I think we want to connect all of our sustainability stuff to the products that we're selling, even though I think that would be more work. But it was very interesting. I think there was a lot of good details about what they do. So I thought this was a good example.
Easy on the eye, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think design is definitely one of those things that we have to keep to the best standards out there to be competitive.
I know we're speaking about user design, or but it brings up some more macro questions, which is great. It's like, what is our value add that we're going to give to our distributors, and that we're going to give to our clients or our customers, right? So we're right in the middle. So what can we give to them? What are we going to become expert in? That's going to
both sides.
Exactly. That makes people want to sell their stuff here.
Yeah, I think I think, once we get up and running, I think just having buying power is one thing, right? Being able to go to a producer and saying, this is how many people, how many members we have, how many, things we've sold in your category. We think you would do well in that category too. So this is about what kind of sales you can expect. So I think that's one thing that I can think of off the top of my head.
It's going to be tricky to populate an entire grocery store online from day one. Having all that inventory, et cetera. So I almost go back to Russell's idea of what was the granola bar company?
Bars, yeah.
Kind Bar. It's like almost like, what if we started with one company and try to help them transform their products, and I almost see like a potential of a tipping point. It's like, hey, we got this company to package it this way. Once you sell one massive company like that, then it's like, okay, maybe we could add products one at a time or something. Maybe just a non-traditional way of filling our shelves.
Yeah, we're candy bars one day. We're kind bars one day, and bananas the next, depending on how we figure it out, or become opportunistic on how we what problems we solve in what order we solve them in, so that we're always growing, but we're taking small calculated risks forward. Although, like, trying to do a I keep calling it a candy bar, but trying to do a granola bar isn't. It seems like it should be easy, but trying to do the whole vertical is really hard. So we'd have to try to figure out how we fit in to an idea like that. And it doesn't even need to be a granola bar. It could be muffins or something else. I don't know. But if it's just one thing, then we can kind of focus on that, and we can test out our shop online. We can test out our in-person pickups, depending on the types of products and depending on the capabilities of our company in our group. We'll be able to take on more and more risk without.
Do you guys know Woot.com?
Yeah.
You like single product. I mean, like, I guess they started doing single products. That's how they got started. And it was like all overstock, or just like any kind of products they could find that were like cheap. And then it would be like a one-day sale, and they would kind of like just like move products as fast as possible. And they sold to Amazon there. It was a pretty big site. It still is, I guess. They do a lot of other stuff now. My other thought too was drop shipping is another option. I don't know how much we'd be able to do in this category, but drop shipping in general is where you have no warehouse. You just place orders with the producer and ship. Then they ship directly to the consumer. You're just basically their marketing department for them. And you depending on how sophisticated you get, you sometimes send them your boxes that they ship, they package it up in, and your marketing material. And sometimes it's just like they just ship it to whatever address that you give them, and you kind of act as the middleman of collecting money and, you know, writing them a big check, you know, once a month or whatever, you know.
So I've seen those situations before, and they generally apply to like expensive items. Like I've seen them with
Sure.
like car accessories
Mm-hmm.
for like off-roading people. And so they'll wait for a batch of 100 people to order some bully bar or something, and then they'll send all that out at once. Obviously, with groceries, it's just a different item, much less
Yeah.
expensive. So it's hard to, you don't want someone to be like, hey, do you want to wait and then buy a granola bar with us? Like, so it's a little trickier, but there might be a way to do it. Like, for example, say you created a relationship with farmers, because food waste in America, a huge problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to being environmental, like reducing food waste is almost one of the best things you could do. So what if there was a way that you use that alert type business, where say I'm in the Hudson River Valley, I have 10 farmers, and then I get an alert from one farmer who says, hey, I have 10,000 melons that the stores aren't taking. Then I'm like, okay, great. I have this market where we could offer them crates of melons on this one singular date. So you kind of give the farmer like a secondary market where they could do that. So I could see it working there. Well, hey.
Sorry guys, it's just to facilitate it better and not run behind time, we need to move to the next. Thanks so much, Brad, for your presentation.
Thank you, Brad. I really like seeing already something like that looks concrete, and I agree that it should be like user friendly. Like I'm a big shopper, so it's important, and it's nice. So thank you so much for your work and for your presentation.
Yeah, sure. How do I I'm trying to stop sharing my screen. Usually there's like the
green button.
It's the arrow next
popping up at the bottom.
Share screen. It's the small arrow, I think.
Yeah, hold on. Let's just see if it. Well, the problem is I got my little.
I can also do it
toolbar.
for others.
Okay, can you do it? My toolbar is stuck. I'm like I'm on a Mac and my toolbar is going in the way, I think.
There you go. And so
okay, thanks.
Okay.
Because now will be okay. Done. So is anyone else there that has a new idea that would like to share? Okay, if not, I don't have a new idea. I just wanted to see kind of how I see the main vision. So for me, it's mostly I see it as education, which I would like to implement in the vision, and comparing to Apple Store classes that they run and teach how to use Apple products, I would like us to also have classes, workshops, seminars about sustainability, plastic, about co-ops. So that's why I think it would be great to have a physical location, because we could run those workshops there. And because education, through education, we can really change the mindset. That's why I think it's very important. And there is group of people that are interested and they know about the topic, but there is huge, massive group that doesn't. And if we created a place that is very inviting, people would come, and maybe they will start with shopping, but eventually they would be interested in coming for classes, workshops to learn. Especially learn about alternatives, because that's what people, they buy what is there many times. That's mostly the masses they do. It's there, so they don't know what alternatives are. So that would be also great. And we could also, I was thinking, in the same space to invite activists, PhDs, professors, or some representatives of sustainable products or companies, and I think people would come. I mean, that's how I see it. And another thing why I kind of support the vision, I see this store as basically a farmer's market, but indoors. And farmers market are really successful. And if you, I don't know if you guys go, but I go frequently, and people just go there. You know, they wake up early and they go, and it's really that if you go towards the end of the farmers market, there's nothing left. So basically, that's why I believe in the main vision, but I see it as yeah, like basically putting a farmers market into our store. So that's what I wanted to share. Anyone has questions?
Yeah,
Thank you.
do you actually think of that can be a good idea to invite the producers? Like maybe can be like even like a day, Sundays with all like producers and farmers. They can present their products.
Yeah, totally. That's why I was also saying, like, inviting not only people like knowledgeable on when like teaching theory, but yeah, actually different people, even producers, because we, even ourselves, I don't think we know what kind of plastic it is, what is good, what is bad, you know. So that will be great, I think.
Yes, I agree with you. I think, as I mentioned in our headline, that I would like to see it, or I would like it to be like an experience. You go there, you buy food. It happens to be zero waste or plastic free, and there are seminars like, oh well, workshops. You can learn something. You can grab a sandwich. People are friendly, like a concept that people like, and that people like just happen to like fall in love with. And um, answering your earlier question, Ula, you asked to Brad, if I may say, do you think this will attract the masses? I don't think the online part of our vision is for the masses. I think it can be in the long term. Once, like if we have a physical location that is attractive, that is successful, that is an experience, as I mentioned, and we happen to also have an amazing online store, right, for the people that, I'll say, like if there's not a location in that place, and people can recommend it, and we can have like a post on Instagram, or like we have like also online store with more products, or some products that you don't find in the store, just like any other store that has in store and an online option. So but the hook, to put it that way, is like that experience that people would have when they go to the physical location.
Right. And I did like very small research about like online shopping and I mean online grocery shopping versus regular shopping. And as much as it's growing, and statistics shows it's growing with a huge speed, it's still just few percent that population shops like does grocery shopping online, even though it's growing. And I found somewhere that it's going to, like last year, I think it grew by 10%, and by 2025, it's going to grow 21%, I think. But it still takes such a small area that's why I mean, I believe in both online grocery and physical, but still, support the physical location. And that's what I found about that.
Yeah, cool.
When I used to work on the Lower East Side, and my architectural firm was partner with the Hester Street Fair, and we had a couple locations around the city where we would have marketplaces, usually twice a week. There would be a lot of craft stuff and grocery stuff as well. And organizing it wasn't too complicated, but it's undoubtedly a positive for the community, for sure.
Okay, definitely.
That also answers, I don't remember who asked Brad also that what is, I think it was you, Adam. So like, what is it gonna make us, oh, but you ask about like vendors, what is it gonna make them want to sell in our store? Well, we are giving back to the community in many different ways and to the environment too. So that's the plan. So I think that's one of the reasons why people would like to buy from us or sell with us.
Yeah, especially if they have similar values as us. We have to find suppliers that match with their values, and the pitch is you could sell on Amazon if you want, but it's going to be way more competition. They're not going to match up. You're going to get all sorts of different customers, whereas here it's going to be specific people looking for products that exactly match what you provide.
Okay, great. Who else is anyone else like to share before we move to the questions and discussions, which actually are across the entire meeting?
Miro?
Not yet, unless someone else wants to say. Because actually, in the so is anyone? Like, does anyone else want to share anything else besides?
I'm not gonna share it now. I also did some like e-commerce research and also physical location research, and I can share that presentation with you. It's not even done because there's so much. And I realized that there are many companies that have like little parts of what I want to do, but I haven't found one yet that has everything you want to do. And the other thing I did that I also like to share with you, and I will make you editor so you can add pros and cons on 3 different subjects, which is like having selling groceries, pros and cons of having a physical location, and pros and cons of doing online only. Just but it's not necessary that I share it now, because it's something we can go to later and you can check it out.
Well, that would be great to hear. And also, I forgot in the very beginning to ask if anybody else wanted to add anything to the agenda.
You said add to the agenda?
Yeah, I forgot. In
okay.
the beginning of the meeting, I was supposed to ask if anyone wanted to add any item to the agenda. I'm sorry. I actually was the one who wanted to add something. I wrote that on the Trello.
Approve.
I wrote it on the Trello, but so my question is, and I brought it up, I mean, I posted those already last week, and how does everyone feel about Trello? And do you consider, or have you considered other platforms for ideas and brainstorming and communication? Because just personally me, I mean, I've been using Trello for a year for my own work, and I find for this project very complicated because it's not visual at all, and I'm really lost sometimes. I don't know where to post, to be honest. I don't know, maybe it's just me. So I was actually talking to Annie about it, and for her project she's using a platform called Miro. It's mostly for brainstorming, for ideas. So if you guys would like to, we could share this. I mean, she could share the screen and share kind of her experience. How is she using it? But just tell me if it's anybody's concern, or would you like to go there, or you?
No, yeah. Let's take a look.
All right. So, yeah. Oh, I'm not there anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I think I've been sharing it, and I've been using it in the last years. Basically, it's a giant whiteboard where you can put a lot of items. I have here like a map. So what I like is that everyone can be at the same time on the board, so you can actually brainstorm on different things. We do things like organizing even this, like today's agenda, what is it? And you have like sticky notes here and different colors, and you just add another one and write. So you can do things like that, very easy. I like, for example, to like decide on like priorities, you know, what in this case it's a board about an online event planning. So it's like, what do we think, like who are going to be our attendees, and then like we put like all kind of sticky notes, and then we'll see like where the majority of the attendees come from, like from this brainstorm now. So you can also add pictures to it, and it also has a Kanban option, which it is a little bit like a Trello, no? Where you can add a task, you can assign it to someone from the group, you can add a tag, you can put a link, and so on. So you can have this included in the same big whiteboard. So basically you can keep everything visually in the same place. Including you can bring in upload saved files, things from Google Drive. You can just bring in a presentation, you can add it there, or you can have a document, for example. Right, where is it? Maybe it's like too tiny here. Yeah. But I mean, it takes a little bit of it like if you go through like a couple of tutorials, you really can get the whole platform, and I really find it useful for collaboration with a lot of people. Like we're doing this with like partners, so we are 5 already in the group, organizers. It's very useful just for 5 people, but then we brought on board some partners, and then it gets just like a larger group. Yeah, and it's been really helpful. I don't know how you guys.
Can you link to specific pieces of content? Like, can you send a link to someone else, like of the like exactly what you're looking at on your screen?
You can invite people to the board, yeah.
But I guess, can you say like, oh look, I want to send a link to this program recap spot. Do you know what I mean?
Like a zoomed in link.
Of the so like everything is also in a like a frame, like everything can be designed in a frame, and then you can save the frame.
Okay.
Create a frame, export it. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. What else can I show you on it? Yeah, you have also templates of all kinds. So you can add mind mapping, as I said, the Kanban.
I have another kind of more open-ended question. How much stuff do we want to put into Miro or Trello?
Yeah.
Do we want to try to have all of basically everything in here? Do we want to try to do like, because I'm sure this can do comments too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we could do all of our communication in either Miro or
normally when we do, I mean, we also like, yeah, you can add you can have like chat and everything, but we still prefer to have like the voice on Zoom. And then also when you have a lot of users, you can follow one user. So wait, let me see if
somebody's like presenting.
Move, yeah, exactly. So like here, if there were more users, you would see like different avatars, and then you go by like following. You click on it, and then you follow that person. Yeah. So if somebody's presenting, that you see like how they move in the board.
But it's mainly for like sharing ideas, not for communication. Or
yeah, I would say that it's mostly for brainstorming and like sharing ideas and keeping everything in one place.
But it's probably good for presenting during a meeting, I would imagine.
Yeah, or you can organize the same way, like you can organize your agenda there. You can like create like a space for what you want to discuss.
It feels like a wall you would have like in a meeting room, in a physical meeting room.
Exactly.
Like a detective board. And just put everything and connect it. And maybe Brad, I would say that we would, if we decide to do this, we have like one wall for each committee and one general board where we for things that are concerning everyone.
Yeah, you can do that, but the board is like so big that you can have actually sections within the board, and yeah, you can also have everything once. Yeah, also the main the boards can be locked also, so if you don't want to like change things on the boards, you can lock it.
That's good.
It's probably one of many options. It just happened that, well, like, I told Anya about it, and she said that's what she's using. So I just.
Well, we can try a couple.
Maybe you guys have different alternatives. I'm not familiar. That's why.
Yeah, maybe that can be our vote for our next meeting. Practice consensus. And also, still there's still the communication issue, because we have like this long thread of emails which certain things on like very formal. So some people were suggesting other platforms just to say comments, like will be like a WhatsApp group or something, but not there obviously. But like, what would you suggest? Because I'm not very familiar with many options, so I would love to hear other suggestions.
Yeah, so last meeting we talked a little bit about potentially trying Notion or Slack as to other more chat room like workflows potentially. Have you heard of Slack or Notion? Either. So I can't demo. I don't have it logged in, but I can share my screen and just maybe I am logged in somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
You want to show?
Yeah, I'm not logged in on this computer. I was going to show Slack, but can you show it?
Yeah, hold on, let me see. I haven't actually used Slack in a while, but maybe I'm still in a group that I can see.
Otherwise, I'll log in as well.
See if anything on my. Okay, yeah, let's do this one and see if anyone's in there. Loading. Yep, okay. Yeah, I can show Slack really quick.
Okay. I assume you have Notion covered as well.
Yeah, I can do, I don't know if I have a good example of Notion because I've only used it in like one team.
All right, then Slack's probably better for this group too, I think.
Did I share am I sharing my screen now?
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, I might still, let me see, can I move? Okay. Well, I mean, I guess the tour is, it's pretty simple. So you have these channels, right? And you can add as many channels as you want. There's a bunch hidden here. You can, there's a bunch, tons of channels that I'm not even on. So usually there's like, you have like tons of channels for very specific things. And then you kind of have more general channels that more people are in, and then like a general channel that like everyone's in. And then it's basically just a chat room that kind of, you can link to stuff. You can see here, like certain links will kind of pop up with more info, you can do threaded messages. I'm trying to see, you can see here, there's like people who commented on, there's like a thread off of this comment that this person had, and you can do, link to more stuff. And so this is in the browser, but there's a desktop app and like a mobile app that all function very similar. And I think that's kind of the other advantage, is that everyone has like the same functionality no matter what device you're looking at.
And there's various, and I can jump in. And then there's sometimes people build workflows using this tool to like approval processes, or there might be a bot to answer a question. But just for us as a group, just starting out, I think it might make sense to have something like this so that if there is like a random question or a random thing that you want to talk about or get opinions on, you could drop it in a place that's more less formal than email, but still something that people could check like once a week or once a couple days, just to tune in and check in more asynchronously.
And do you find it like, is it easy to find things if you like, let's say you didn't check it in a few days?
I mean, yeah, you would scroll up,
Mhm.
and the days are divided by those markers that you can see there, and then they also have a search. So if there's something that you remember having a conversation about, you can use the search, and it'll find that part of the communication and bring you right back to the conversation, so you can reread it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just like put it up there, and maybe you guys didn't see this point for the agenda, so maybe we can think about it, or you can suggest on the Trello so we can all get familiar, and next time we can talk about it. I'm not sure if that makes sense, or what do you guys think?
So would it be an action item to create one of these groups and practice this week using it?
We could try that.
We could try that, yeah.
Okay.
If you guys want.
Okay. Brad, do you want to work with me on that?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I know Vivek used to use Slack, and so maybe he also has some input.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we use Slack for my day job, so that's basically how I communicate with my boss and all my colleagues. More than email or even Zoom, but
yeah, it's definitely a step up from email, and so I think
Mhm.
if we move all of our conversations from email to Slack, I think everyone will notice it's a lot better.
Okay.
There.
Great. So that would be great.
As far as communication, like I think if we go with Slack, we'd have to find something else for documents. Like we either have to stick with Google Docs or like Miro or something for like documentation and things.
Mm-hmm.
I personally really like Notion. Like I've used Notion with Slack, and I feel like they work together really well. But I mean, we can look at all sorts of stuff.
Okay, that would be great. So we still have 15 minutes left, which is either left for questions, or maybe Erika would like to share her. Yes or no? I'm not sure.
No, I can send the link about like the pros and cons. We don't need to go through them.
People can actually check it out themselves.
Yes, and I would like I really like the last item in the agenda, like to share how we think this meeting went, and suggestions, and just review our action items and whatever. Have the space.
Okay, great. Okay. How did you guys feel about the meeting? What did you like, or what did you dislike, and what would you like to see in the next meeting, our future meetings?
Well, we fit within 2 hours, so that's a good thing. We'll just get that out of the way.
Sorry, can you?
Our time management was better, so we're getting better at that.
I feel like it was productive. I feel like everyone was heard.
We didn't hear Jenny very much this time, and
I felt like I don't know. I feel like we could streamline things a little more with having the same facilitator and the same minutes taker every time, and but it was nice to meet Ani.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can't see you, but good to be with you guys on the call. Yeah, I'm hopping all around, so didn't really have time in the last weeks.
And also, like, you asked to change your email, right? because
Yes, I think, I don't know if Adam, if you got my email about adding a different email to the Trello board so I can keep all my boards in the same area.
Sure,
And-
I'll do that later.
Yeah. Great. Nice. Yeah. What should I say? Well, I think I like the flow, and I like that you guys had the ideas and you had all this research done. I've learned from it for sure. I personally think 2 hours it's long. I generally lose my focus after a little bit briefly after 1 hour. So I don't know if you want to keep the 2 hours format, or like if you want to, like, if personally I would prefer even less, like if there is for a meeting. I do all my meetings between like 40 minutes and 1.5 hours mostly. We usually set it for 1 hour and then go a little bit over, but that's just a personal thing. Maybe at the beginning now, just to get more content and moving things faster, 2 hours is necessary. But
yeah, I think someone before mentioned maybe we move it to every 2 weeks. But maybe in the beginning, I think now in the beginning we kind of need this time. It's my personal feeling.
And wish for the next, maybe to get to know each other personally. So maybe we can do some little breakout rooms also. So we can have like a little mini side chat on the side, and a breakout room. And pass it to whoever else wants to take the word.
How do people feel about the size of the group at this point? Should we try to recruit more people to come to the Zoom thing? I think we've left it very open, like anyone can come, but
Yes.
I want to know if people think we should like start like being like, everyone should come, please come, like how much should we push that?
I think we should, because we're gonna need a lot of hands, and Vivek has like a series of emails like, okay, so you can watch the first meeting, they're already there, and then like, okay, so if you like the first meeting, then the next one, and some follow-up emails, so we can share them with you, Brad, or whoever wants to invite more people. I think it's a good idea.
I agree, but also I've heard like from a couple people that like they would like to be, but it's really overlapping their other meeting, and they choose to Tuesday. So, I mean, I know we cannot like do it perfect for everyone, but
yeah. Do you think? How many people do you think? I mean, is that multiple people you've talked to about that issue?
I
Okay.
talked to. Like that was Emily. She was on the first, maybe half of the second meeting, and then our other friend Ashley, she finishes work at this time when we restart. So by the time she gets home, that's why. So that's the two people I talked to. But I agree with you. I think we should recruit soon more. Be good.
There's a splash page that I guess Vivek or someone made, and it has the date up for the first meeting. Reset that for.
Yes, we were supposed to work on this. Just Vivek, before going to the retreat, he thought maybe that's too much to take care of right now. So I guess when he's back, we'll do it, because he kind of mentioned it to Erika, and they also I cannot access his laptop even though he left me his password. So we were kind of done, but
yes,
that's great.
to reach out to the people that RSVP for the original event, which haven't been like really following up, just like saying, okay, there's still time, like you missed the first meeting, but there are recordings, and just because there was like almost 100 people that RSVP for that event.
Yeah, maybe like a relaunch or something is in order after we get the kinks ironed out of, you know what I mean?
Definitely, I definitely agree with that, Jennifer. some sort of relaunch would be probably in order once we have a better idea about where we're going and the next steps, especially if we just need manpower and not any particular skill. If we can get a project like that figured out, then it makes sense to try to keep our email list warm.
Well, I personally start to feel more comfortable sharing my thoughts with the group, and I'm happy that I was able to like clarify what unless I was a bit confusing, and yeah, like I feel happy with the results of this meeting, and I also think it was productive, and it was nice to just have space to share our thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. Whoever, yeah, I think Brett is taking the notes, right? What is, so maybe we review what is for the agenda for next time.
Review the notes from the meeting?
No, not the notes. Like what? Sorry, the action items. I'm sorry. For the next time, we said.
Okay.
We said definitely about to discuss the platform. Okay. Platforms.
Then Russell and Brad, we're gonna create a Slack group so we can test it out. And next we wanted to maybe vote on whether to use Miro just to share like ideas or not. So that can be added.
Well, but would anyone like to test it on their own, maybe before we vote? Because, I mean, we saw it, yeah. I don't know if it was...
That's how I understood it, that Russell and I would kind of test out a bunch of different things and then present.
Oh, present, okay.
Meeting. That's kind of understood. Erika, was that what you understood too, or does that sound good?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's like an action item for everyone, which I think there should be. Would it be to like, I think we need to have something.
So me and Brad will try to get the Slack group up the next day or two. Shouldn't be too hard. It's a free service until you get a certain amount of messages, and then even then it'll sorry, I hear feedback. It's a free service, so we can try it and see if we like it, and we can get invites sent out, and there's no obligation to join, but if you want to test it out with us, you can. I think that'll be, and then next meeting we can talk about whether that was a success or not and what we want to do going forward. Same thing with Miro. We can, Annie, is that free for to use, or?
It's free up to like.
So I feel like I've signed up.
It's up to like 3 boards. So yeah, it's free. That's why I was saying that you can put all the information in one board, because it's like unlimited the space on one board. So.
Okay, so maybe you two would pair up and try to get a Miro that we could share out to everybody.
Yeah, we can do that we can do that together.
Yeah, you mentioned that there are some like tutorials, right?
Yeah, and they're like very good tutorials. Like just watching a couple of videos can take you through the whole.
Cool. So yeah, just create the board and send us invites. And
yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I think the meeting.
Can I add an agenda item that maybe for discussion, something for discussion? And I don't have a presentation, but maybe for discussion, that we talk about what kind of commitments, just commitments in general, how we feel about commitments.
Okay.
What do you mean by commitments exactly?
Like I was thinking about this the other day, that like I can work on this for free, or I can work on it for $30,000 plus a year. But because of my particular circumstance, I can't work on the. I can't accept less than $30,000 a year. Except I could do it for free. So
to a certain extent, right? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like you have this much. I guess I'm kind of where like I could do this many hours for free. Otherwise, like there has to be like some sort. We'd have to have like revenue, and then we can bump up to something else. Is that kind of what you're saying, Jennifer? I don't want to like step on your idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I can work on it for free, just indefinitely, I guess.
Yeah, for a certain amount, like a certain amount of hours per week or something per month or something.
Yeah, but if we somehow could figure out how we could pay ourselves 30,000 plus, that would be. That wouldn't be a deal breaker for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big conversation that we should get to. So thanks for bringing it up. But yeah, discussing how, say, the next 6 months is going to work versus, at what stages of the business. Do we account for hours? Do we start doing it already? So there's loads of things to think about.
Yeah, for me at this point, I'm considering my labor donation. So basically donating my time.
I understand that, but we have to get on the same page, everyone. Come to agreement on that.
Yep. Yes, we do.
So Jennifer, you would like to talk about this on the next meeting? Or you would like to suggest?
That's just one. The money is just one question. What other kind of commitment? Like, I don't know. We're saying like to make a co-op, there's a meaning of membership. Like, what's the meaning of membership? And there's some kind of commitment involved to show up to meetings or to do some kind of number of work, or I don't know.
Yeah,
and
maybe,
if there's multiple levels,
to do some research on like the different types of membership, or how like different companies have started. That can be like my action item. Like, what are some steps of how do membership start in the beginning? Because obviously you will have, like, as the company grows, the co-op grows, you can commute to more hours, right? When it's like a full-time job, whether now, but like, how can you start and say, okay, I'm a member, I can give this. So I'll do some research on that.
Yeah, if you need any help, I can help with that. Okay.
So maybe a final checkout for everyone. Let's see, what do you want to dream about tonight?
Oh, what I want to dream about?
Ula.
Oh, to be in the deep powder in the woods.
Wait, what kind of powder?
Like, snow.
Okay.
I'm watching videos about snow. I just want to go for some.
Come back to Colorado, please.
I know. I love that.
I'm the opposite. I'm gonna dream about a trip to Cancun or something.
Wow, she just.
I can go whenever I want. I'm not running for office, so.
Just landed.
Just landed from there.
I'm from Cancun, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you like, you don't want to go to Cancun?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do. Okay, you still have good.
I'm not going to put some timeshare with you, Brad.
Jennifer, what are your dreams?
I think I'll be running. For some reason, I have a lot of running dreams. So.
Oh.
I hope I dream to just have a solution to something. That'd be a great dream.
Even in your dreams?
Even in my dreams.
Cube, anything.
Solve it.
All right. right, Adam is the last one.
I think I share Russell's dream, or I would like to at least.
Well, I will dream about being in a field of sunflowers.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
And seeing a spaceship coming to pick me up.
Oh, she has crazy dreams always.
I have surreal dreams. So.
Very surreal.
Well,
all right.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good night.
Your time and energy.
Bye.
See you next week, I hope.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Yeah.